I'm soaked, man. I'm sorry.
Anyways, y'all, we're here. Welcome back to another edition of the Giants Brawl podcast. Anthony's been having a super long day, but he probably had like another triple double. Mike's pretty pissed off at our podcast mascot, Barkley, and I'm still here. What's up, guys? I'm Usaid Kosher, your host. Mike is drinking and potting just like G Stelio of the Bears Brawl, who we invited on this show this week, but he pussied out. So I'm gonna send this recording to G afterwards to let him know. Go ahead and follow Mike Trainer on Twitter at Mike Trainer MFT. And then Anthony's got all sorts of stuff going on between articles and whatnot. He's your constant off-season fix for Giants fans. Go check him out at Anthony_Rivardo. What's going on, guys?
Man, I did not know G Steel was man. I didn't know he pussied out, man. I had no idea. I want what
No,
happened.
okay. So let me pull the conversation up, right? So like I texted G, right? And I was like, yo, we want to get you on the pod.
You
And
scared.
then he texts me back. He's like, Mike really doesn't want that. It becomes an all out insult fest, and I always win. And then he's like, when do y'all record? And then I'm like, oh, Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern. He's like, hey, that's usually Bears Brawl time. Usually, haha. I responded with, don't worry, we'll get you on one of these weeks, Lamo, or laughing my ass off. And then G like just left me on red and didn't respond. So I'm gonna take it as G pussied out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Listen, you don't want none of this, man. I'm telling you, I will go after the Bears hard. I mean, sorry, the U, calling you the U from now on. Eh, dude, it's tough, man. It's so weird, man. Him being from New York and being like a Bears fan, a White Sox fan, Blackhawks fan. I mean, I don't know that kid got the Nets. He likes the Nets for some strange reason. Yeah, definitely, you got to get him on, man, because I would like to go right at him, man.
Oh, definitely. And you guys know the Giants are my second team, but yeah, I covered guys. I covered the Bears, which is why I have to like follow them so much. But what's going on, Anthony?
Just spilled water all over my laptop. Just trying to clean that up. I'm soaked now. My pants are really really wet, so that kind of sucks. But it's time for Giants Brawl, so let's get going.
That's right.
Yeah, so as I said, we got the combine kicking off this week, guys, and it's so freaking weird because it just seems like every damn year they're changing the structure, and the first 3 days are just like all press conferences, and then it's like, oh, Thursday to like March 3rd or whatever, they're gonna have all the drills and the 40-yard dash and whatnot. And like Mike, I know you touched on this, like players not going to the combine. I'll start with you. Like, what's up with Chase Young not going, dude? Because if you're a top draft prospect, like I get you don't have anything to prove, but like you still got to show the hell up because people will always question your character. Because there's a time of year where it's like any narrative can start that can be good or bad, and it can like make or break a guy's reputation.
Dude, absolutely. Like it's a little weird. Like the combines, they wanted to be like the Super Bowl where all these press conferences leading up to it, like it's a big event. Like we said the past couple podcasts, it's like background noise to like most people. But Chase, as far as Chase Young not wanted to go there, I'm like, listen, he's projected to go number two. Now, if you're a guy projected to go number two, like would you risk yourself like for like an injury wise and like going to the combine doing all these silly things when you're going number two? The only like benefit, there's not a benefit for him to do this. It's like a non-benefit for him to go there and to like what if he fails at certain like aspects of this thing and then he drops. Like I'm kind of hoping he drops because I want Simmons, man. I think Simmons is the guy anyway. But that's my perspective on that. I'm like, do you guys, like I think it's more to do the combine is more to do with like the later guys, like later round guys. Maybe they could like try to do themselves a favor and move up like in the draft. I'm like, for the guys that are projected to go that early, why even bother going?
I agree. I mean, I think that the most important part of the NFL scouting combine is all the stuff that we don't see. All the interviews that players conduct with the teams. The teams are getting to know these prospects for the first time. I think that's what's really important. I don't think it's important for Chase Young to risk hurting himself on the bench press or running his 40. We know John Ross, yeah, he broke that 40-yard dash record, but he hurt himself doing it. And he really hasn't been the same player since he pulled his hamstring at the combine. So it's just an added risk that these guys who are in the top 10 for sure don't need to take. I agree. Chase Young, there's really no reason for him to participate in this. So I think he's making the right decision. He's going to go to interviews, and I think that's really all he needs to do.
I forgot all about that Ross thing, man. Wow, that's a great point, man.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, okay, so there's like the trend in college football is that you have some of the top prospects that just don't play in the bowl games every year because they're like, hey, look, like me not playing in one more game is not going to break my draft stock. Like, I'm going to sit out this one game and start preparing for the NFL draft. Because this pre-draft process, like, you got basically some of these guys who go to the Senior Bowl, and then you got guys, everyone's hiring an agent. And then from there on, it's like you're going to combine and then pre-draft visits after that. And some of those pre-draft visits are like long job interviews, just taking up like almost a day. So you have to wonder, like, could this become a trend for down the road where the other top prospects are like, yeah, look, I don't have anything to prove. My film speaks for itself. Like, I'm not going to go and waste a week in Indy. Why would I do that when I could continue just get ready for the draft?
Right. It's more to do with like people like just watching like the game tape. Like I think that's where you get like your aspects on like what kind of player that player is going to be. Like the combine is just like all silliness with the bench press, everything. Like it's boring to me. Like you gotta see what like these guys bring on the field against players like their own caliber players. You know what I mean? And then see if that translates to the NFL. This combine to me is like a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, the strategy worked out pretty well for Nick Bosa. He didn't participate. He didn't go into his bowl game even. He got a little flack because of it from some talking heads in the media. But now he's a defensive rookie of the year because the film doesn't lie. The man's like nearly unblockable. He dominates rep to rep, and that's what they're going to see. And I don't think it really matters how fast he runs in underwear because he's not going to be wearing underwear on the field. He's going to be wearing pads. So the combine, like I said, the most important part of the combine is for those players to nail their interviews with those teams because that will speak to their character and that will say whether or not they want them on their team.
We definitely don't want to see these guys in underwear. Like the only thing I liked about I think they had a league with all the women played in lingerie. They played that football league. I forgot the name of it. That was a fun league to watch.
Powder Puff League, yeah, that's pretty fun.
That and the Puppy Bowl, like those are my like two favorites.
Oh yeah, the Puppy Bowl is fire. Right.
Then the NFL is third on my list.
Anyway, so did you guys catch the Gettleman and Judge press conferences at all today? Or I mean, I didn't catch them because they're just
they had a press conference.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, both of them spoke to me. See, guys, Anthony's been having such a crazy day.
No, I'm just kidding. I was just kidding. I saw it.
Yeah, okay. Don't make us tease you on this pod, dude. Trust me, you're the youngest here, and we'll freaking pick on you. The Giants.
I can take it. I got rhino hide, as Dave Gettleman said today.
Yeah, but and Anthony, I'll start with you. Just what were some of your takeaways from like, Dave and Joe's press conferences? That's what I'm going to refer to them as, Dave and Joe.
Well, I think Dave Gettleman was. Everybody's like really happy because he was like, we're open for business. We're ready to listen to some trade offers about the number 4 pick. But if you read all of his quotes, that's not really what he's saying. He's like, oh, I don't want to trade too far back. I don't want to trade away from a good player. I want to stay. He's basically saying he's either staying in the top 10 if he trades back or he's not trading back at all. He doesn't want to trade away from a good player. And, I don't blame him. I get that, but I don't buy it. I don't think he's going to trade back. I'm hoping he does because I think it's really the best case scenario, especially if they want an offensive lineman like he was saying that they did. And that's another problem with Gettleman.
That's a small.
I don't think so. I think he always, every year, just tells the media who he wants. He was gushing about Daniel Jones last year. They drafted Daniel Jones. The year before that, he called Saquon Barkley the gift of God or something. And then we drafted him. And it's like, of course. And now this year, he's talking about how he really wants an offensive lineman for Daniel Jones. So I got to say, I think they're going to go offensive line, but it could be different because, like you mentioned, Joe Judge also spoke today, and, that man doesn't give an inch. He will not tell anybody what he's thinking, unlike Gettleman. But Joe Judge, I like what he's doing. I like that he's not giving a commitment to any player so far. I know that some people are starting to, put fire to the flame and start trying to say, oh, they're going to trade Daniel Jones. That's not going to happen. He's really just trying to be upfront. He hasn't really evaluated everybody yet, and he doesn't want to give away jobs without seeing the players play first. And I don't blame him. I think he's doing everything the right way, and I'm super impressed with Joe Judge. I love the way he's conducting himself in these interviews.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Daniel Jones, like all these people, like, oh, would you draft a quarterback? Like, come on, man. Like, don't even start that garbage. You know, we got the quarterback of the future right here. But like, I know we said in the past podcast about like all the quarterbacks going like 1, 2, 3. Say that happens. Say Washington trades out and the quarterback go. The Giants right there sitting at number 4. That's like having a number 1 draft pick. We could pick anybody we want. So if they're like high on somebody, I don't, there's no reason to trade back. If all 3, go ahead of us, they have the number 1 draft pick pretty much this year, and go after the guy like you want that you're high on, and I'll be thrilled with that.
Yeah, for real. Like, okay, so, and I know Anthony's kind of talked about this scenario a million times, is if you do go 1, 2, 3, right? And let's be real about something with Washington first off, because they're picking at 2. And like Redskins fans are dumb as hell, right? So they're under all the impression like, yo, we're gonna go ahead and get Chase Young, and he's gonna transform our defense, whichever, let's be real though, whichever defense Chase Young plays for, whichever team, he's gonna transform the defense, right? But like what people don't get is that if you're Washington and you get an offer that blows you away, you take that offer right away. The reason being is because it's better to accumulate more picks and build a well-rounded roster than it would be to just spend the one draft on one guy, no matter like who he is. So if quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, like you said, Mike, I totally agree. You're Dave Gettleman there. You cannot F this up. All right, and go with an offensive tackle in a deep class. You got to go Chase Young or Simmons there at 4.
Right. That's those 2 guys are legit game changers. I mean, like you said, like offensive tackles are deep. Like look what we got. Like we got, number 1, we got a number 4 pick. We got a second round pick. We got 2 number 3 picks that we could literally like, maybe, use that to trade back into the second round, because I think we get a comp pick for Collins. I think that's where the other third round pick comes in.
Correct.
If I'm mistaken. And then we got like, 4, 5, 6. So I think we got like, 10, round 7 picks for some strange reason. We got a whole bunch of round 7 picks. I don't know why. Maybe we could like take all 10 of them and trade up into the first round again, But that's probably the way to go. Like offensive tackle late, I would take it, 2 offensive tackles in the second. Maybe not, because in the third round they're saying like Chase Claiborne, the wide receiver from Notre Dame. I think he might be a good pick for the Giants, man, for them to get. I know like everybody's looking for the Giants to draft like a wide receiver in this draft, and that guy might be the guy.
Well, I'll say if they do trade back and say it's still within the top 10, I think you kind of have to go offensive tackle at that point. Like if you trade away from Chase Young, like Chase Young's off the board, Isaiah Simmons is off the board. Yeah, you got to go offensive tackle. I mean, it's a really strong offensive tackle class. There's at least 4 offensive tackles that are going to go in the first round with Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, and Mekhi Becton. So I think it's a really strong class. We obviously have a need at that position, so I would definitely jump on that if we have the opportunity. But I do think that number 4 overall, it's a little high to take an offensive tackle. I think definitely you want to trade down and accumulate picks before you just take an offensive tackle right at 4. Because if you can get that offensive tackle, he's probably not going to completely change your team, but he might make a huge impact. But then that extra draft pick you get, that's additional impact right there. So you might not get the game-changing player like Simmons or Chase Young, but you are going to get like 2 really solid contributors, and I think that's the best move. But I hope Gettleman's not just trying to smoke screen. I hope they really are open for business, and he's willing to listen to offers and trade down, because I still think that's the best move.
Well, we need pass rushers. I mean, it doesn't look like free agency is gonna, get us a lot of pass rushers out there that we're able to like buy. It looks like
Like, okay, see, here's my issue with with the pass rushers and free agency is it's like, so Jadeveon Clowney, and then you got Yannick Ngakoue, who wants $22 million a year, which personally, like, I wouldn't pay Yannick Ngakoue the $22 a year he wants, just because like he'd basically be making like the same amount of money as Aaron Donald and like $4.5 million less than Khalil Mack. And there's no way in hell I'm grouping him in that same class. So if you trade back, right, you need to, like Anthony mentioned, you're getting an opportunity to find like another Darius Slayton, for example, not in terms of like the actual wide receiver, but like a mid-round steal. And like, let's be honest, as this core continues to form, because right now, like if I were to rank kind of core players on this Giants team, I would say it's like Daniel Jones, Saquon, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Will Hernandez also. Like those would just be some of my guys on the offensive core. I think if you can get a good offensive tackle like Wirfs or Thomas or Jedrick Willis, for example, because those are my three for the Giants that I would absolutely want to see them get. You're going to complete your offensive core, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's kind of like the question of what do you do with Nate Solder? You'll probably just keep him at left tackle, but maybe you even move him over to right tackle if you get one of these left tackles in the class and you want to keep them at their position. And then, then I think that you're improving both sides of the line at that point because I think that Nate Solder would do a lot better at right tackle. I don't think he's got the athleticism to stay on the left side anymore. He's often getting turned around and getting toasted. So if you move him to the right and then you get a solid young left tackle to build around, I mean, that it really is completing your offense for the next like 5 years. You can really just solidify the offensive line with that pick. But like you said, Isaiah Simmons is a hell of a talent. He really could change your defense. So if they go with Simmons at 4, I won't complain at all. I mean, that dude's a Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades. So he could definitely be the guy there too.
Yeah, I mean, we got Will Hernandez in the second round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe maybe that's the way we go. I'm hoping they go that route. Maybe they trade back up in the first round. I'm like, who knows, man. But we definitely, obviously, we need help on the offensive line and defense, and we got a lot of draft picks to go after defensive guys. So we need to draft correct. Ben Gettleman's been doing that, so.
Yeah, and just like so, even Joe Judge, like people are over Twitter basically like criticizing Joe Judge just in terms of like, well, what the hell did you get up there and say? Like, why would you not publicly commit to Danny Jones as starter? Like, let's be honest about something. I mean, the dude got here like what, 8 or 9 weeks ago, so he's not gonna publicly come out, especially after that introductory press conference he had where he's like, yo, everyone's basically gonna have to work to earn a spot. I don't care who you are. Like, let me break that statement down for people. Is these coaches, right, going into every single year, these GMs, they know who's going to be on the roster in September this time of year. Like, Saquon and Danny Jones and Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Will Hernandez. Like, those are 5 guys I can guarantee you right now that are going to be on the 53. But he was more so saying that because, like, this is a team that's got a hell of a lot of holes and there's lots of starting spots up for grab on both sides of the ball. You're going to want competition for, like, because this is the NFL. There's only limited opportunities. So you have to kind of like, make guys earn their opportunity.
He's trying to build a team, like that's what it is he's putting the team first. He's making these guys, hey, when you come to work, you got to do your job. We want to build a team. It's not just about one guy. Well, let me throw this at you. What if the Giants do decide to draft a quarterback? Can you imagine the media outrage that would happen if they drafted like Tua, for instance, if he slips? Can you imagine that happening?
Oh yeah, that would. I mean, okay, that would see. Here's the thing. That would piss people off. Well, here's the thing, right? The non-Giants fans, they would be like, "Yo, Gettleman's an idiot," because like in that draft room, Dave's the one that's pulling the trigger on every single pick. Like, yeah, he's going to get input from Joe Judge and these guys, but, like, Dave's pulling that trigger on that pick. So that would be Dave Gettleman's pick. So Dave would get the most backlash, but people would straight up just be pissed off in the sense that, hey, if you were going to go ahead and, draft Tua because you knew he was coming out in 2020 or 2021, you knew you weren't going to be competitive. Like, why the hell would you reach for Jones at 6? Like, it would just go back to everything we saw in the first round last year.
So here's a hypothetical. You tell me how angry you guys would be about this or how happy you would be if you'd be happy. The Giants sign a quarterback in free agency, whether that be Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, Jacoby Brissett, whoever, and then they trade Daniel Jones for the number 7 overall pick or number 6 overall pick. and then they draft Tua at 4, and then Isaiah Simmons at 6 or 7. How upset would you really be, though?
Wow. Wow.
Damn, dude, God damn it, Anthony.
Can you give me
I'm
like a week and I can have my answer for you like next week's
like,
podcast?
listen, I want to make it clear. I believe in Daniel Jones. I love Daniel Jones. That's our franchise quarterback. But I wouldn't commit to him right now either if I was Joe Judge. Evaluate all your options. Everyone should be up for sale when you're a 4-12, 5-11 team. You should be looking for every piece of value that you can get. If you can get those 2 first-round picks, secure your franchise quarterback, and get that game-breaking player on defense, just for your quarterback that you drafted last year, you got to at least consider it. I'm not saying you do it, but you got to think about it. And that's definitely something Joe Judge is thinking about. That's why he can't commit to anybody yet. What if somebody offers like 3 first-round picks for Saquon Barkley? And like I get Saquon Barkley's generational talent, but it's a little hard to say no to 3 first-round picks in exchange for a running back, and someone might consider doing it. So I don't blame him. Don't commit to anybody. Last time around, we had Pat Shermer immediately committing to people. Pat Shermer, Daniel Jones is Pat Shermer's guy. Plenty of reports have come out and said that. That was his guy. Gettleman even said that. Gettleman said Shermer convinced him on Daniel Jones. So maybe even Dave Gettleman's not as committed to Daniel Jones as we thought. I think he is. I'm committed to Daniel Jones. I hope he's with us for the next 15 years and wins us 3 Super Bowls or 15 at that. It doesn't matter. I believe in him. I think he's got the talent and the ability to do it. But if I were Joe Judge, I wouldn't make any commitments either because the scenario that I just laid out, that's honestly a possibility. Someone might be willing to give up a first for Daniel Jones. So you just never know. You can't commit too soon.
You're right. Quarterbacks are like they're in demand this year. So a team could come up and trade for them. I'm like, that's shocking to even like think about. Like my head is like spinning right now. Like I don't know if you guys can tell. Like I can't even comprehend that. Like what like
No,
it's like especially like Eli 2.0. But I tell you, man, Philip Rivers coming over here, which I love him, and Tom Brady coming down south a little bit, which I don't think will happen. Like Tom would go to like a a Saints team if Drew Brees decided to retire, but he's coming back. But like I don't see Tom Brady leaving anyway. But man, that's a very very interesting thing, man. You brought up, but nah, they're keeping him, man. What am I crazy? I can't think about that.
For sure. I think they're keeping him for sure, but I'm just saying this to say I don't blame Joe Judge for not committing to anybody yet because you never know what's going to happen between now and April. You never know what crazy trade offer you might get. Just keep everything on the table until you have no choice but to leave it on the table or to take it off the table. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to think of everything. He's from New England, so he's definitely smart and knows how to build a winning football team. And if he thinks that's the way, then I'm going to trust him. I trust Joe Judge a lot. I think that he is the guy and he's going to turn us around. So whatever he does, I'll believe in it and I'll agree with it.
He's the judge. Whatever he says goes. He's the
Yep.
judge.
yeah,
Exactly.
here's what the goal of the team should be. Okay, as I freaking stutter there, the thing is, you need to have like a GM and a front office and a scouting department and a personnel department that's willing to basically work hand in hand with the coaching staff and bring in talent, and not just talent that's like anybody off the street. You got to bring in talent that fits the system that the coaching staff is trying to build, and like ultimately, let's be real. I mean, the later years of the Coughlin era, Jerry Reese didn't do that. Ben McAdoo and his staff, like, they didn't know how the hell to develop talent. Shermer was just an all-out mess in the sense that he couldn't do so anyway. But like, we've seen the Patriots. I mean, how many times have these Patriots like assistants and coaches? Some of these guys know how to develop talent. Like, how many times have we seen them find a guy like, nobody's even freaking heard of on day 3? I think Trey Flowers was a classical example of this.
Tom Brady's a classic example.
Yeah,
6th-round pick.
well, aside from Brady, like I think Trey Flowers is a notable example, is they just find these guys in the draft and then develop them because they're willing to like fit them inside, whatever system they're gonna run. So like if Joe says, "Oh yeah, Danny Jones is not my guy," then you gotta think something's like going on behind the scenes. And whatever it is, it's gonna be an interesting next few weeks. That kind of comment is like, okay, hold on, what's up? Because I remember seeing reports when Anthony and I were doing this thing back in like December where we knew Pat Shermer was going to get fired. And one of the big reports was, yeah, if you come to New York, like Danny Jones is going to be your starting quarterback according to ownership. But that looks like it's changed now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't necessarily think it has. I don't want to read too much into what Joe Judge said. I don't want to say, oh, he's not committing. I'm sure behind closed doors, he's told Daniel Jones, we're committed to you, we're building around you, but you just never know. And he probably never knows what kind of offer he might get. Like I said, I think he's just leaving it all on the table. He doesn't want to make any public commitments to avoid fan backlash mainly. But I think probably privately, he's already met with Daniel Jones. He's probably given him, you're my quarterback, you're my guy. And so, it's just a difference of what we hear in the media and what they hear behind closed doors because we don't get that information.
Yeah, I think it's like a big like smoke screen like going on for a lot of things. I mean, if you hear about the players talk about Daniel Jones, they love the guy. For them to come out in the media and say that, you don't hear that about a lot of other teams' quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Especially young ones like this. You heard about Mahomes in Kansas City. Look how he turned out to be. Super Bowl champion this year. So Daniel Jones probably Super Bowl champion next year. So we'll have that in us. You know what I mean? I think we got the right guy. I'm excited about like their possibilities and what they could do with this number 4 pick, whether it's trade back, like get their guy they want. They have all sorts of options right now.
Yeah, and I will say this, like this just for someone who covers the NFL and the draft extensively, like if you're, for Giants fan base, man, this is like the most intriguing offseason for y'all because there's supposed to be that run on quarterbacks early. All right. And I've heard, rumors and whatnot just from talking to people at the combine because I know like 50 people that are there that there's some buzz. Jordan Love could go in the first round. Jacob Eason, who a lot of people compare to like a lesser Matthew Stafford. He could potentially end up going round 1 because we know Bruce Arians of the Bucks, he likes his big arm quarterbacks like Carson Palmer. So here's what's going to happen is there's going to be an early run on a couple of quarterbacks and, forget Young and Simmons, just focus on quarterbacks. There's going to be an early run on those guys, and what's going to end up happening is Giants are going to get someone as a result of it, even if they decide to sit there at 4. Speaking of that, a lot of stuff goes on at the combine, guys. You got teams meeting players for, what is it, like 15 to 20 minutes and all that kind of stuff, just doing some like surface level work. But who are some guys that you would like the Giants to meet with in this while they're in Indy for this week?
Well, for sure, I want them to meet with Chase Young, especially because he's not doing any workouts. They should meet with him. I know it's a slim chance that he ends up with us, but maybe you want to meet with him and see, wow, if we really like him as a character, we really believe in this guy, maybe we'll trade up. You never know. I don't think that would be in the best interest for the Giants. I think trading down is, but still meet with Chase Young. He's the best player in the draft class and see if he's really someone that you believe could turn your franchise around. And if he is, you have a strong conviction for him, maybe you do have to trade up or just pray that he falls to you. So definitely meet with Chase Young, especially since he's not running any drills. And then every single round 1 offensive tackle, you got to meet with them too. Because that's another position where you really want to test their leadership. Can they command the rest of the offensive line? Can they have the durability and the leadership qualities to stay around for 10 years? So meet every first round offensive tackle and definitely see if you think that they can stick with you for 10 years and be that guy. Because if so, you might get a conviction. You might take one of them right at 4.
Yeah, I agree with that. You got to meet up with every offensive tackle that's coming out in the draft. I want them to meet up with everybody. You got to get that thing, fixed and be solid. As far as Chase Young goes, I mean, yeah, interview with him, but obviously we're not going to trade with Washington to get him. That's for damn sure. That we're not making that. They're not trading for us. So better hope he falls. A guy like I would probably want, like, we had success with a certain Wisconsin linebacker before he got hurt, Connolly. What about Zach Bourne? He's supposed to be a legit guy. Having both those two guys in there, maybe he's the type, but he's projected to go in the first round, so you probably have to trade up for him. But I would like to see them interview him as a possible trade up candidate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Zach Bond's like interesting because I mean, like on my personal draft board, I just got like a mid first early or like late first early 2 on him. So I think it's just too much of a damn reach. Picking him in the top 10 would be too much of a damn reach unless he like blows the combine away. So like, I mean, Bond would be interesting because it would add tons of competition to basically a linebacker room right now. That's like freaking got to be one of the youngest in the NFL.
Yeah, they need help.
They need tons of help because, like, let's be real, this team has not had a freaking legit middle linebacker since Antonio Pierce.
Right. Connolly was playing great until he got hurt.
He was. Yeah, and I think Connolly's probably got a secured spot as a starter this next year, especially since they're almost certainly going to cut Ogletree. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Should they even bother meeting with any of the quarterbacks or no?
I mean,
yes and no.
Go ahead, you.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say yes and no, and I'll say don't meet with any of the top guys because if Daniel Jones is your guy and you've said that to his face behind closed doors, Danny Jones is your guy. But like, let's be real, would you be confident going into 2020 with Daniel Jones as your quarterback, but then more importantly, Alex Tanney as your backup? So I think I wouldn't be confident in Tanny. So you got to meet with some of the quarterbacks this week, like a Cole McDonald or Anthony Gordon, two guys that are going to be available on day 2 or day 3. You got to bring one of those guys in because we've seen the value of having a solid backup quarterback. And this is something that Joe Judge has got to consider because you know what? He was in New England when Jimmy G was there. He was in New England when Jacoby Brissett was there. Now, Brissett and Jimmy G, I'm not saying those guys, I don't consider them like franchise type guys at all because Jimmy G, when he should have stepped up a couple weeks ago in the Super Bowl and made plays like the $130 million man he is, he didn't do so. So bottom line is Judge comes from a coaching tree, which has always had a solid backup quarterback. So they got to meet with someone this week. I mean, hell, even if it's George's Jake Fromm, who I'm not super high on, I think you still got to consider meeting with him.
What about Jordan Love? What if he slips to the second round? Would you guys consider drafting him in the second round and have like a, almost like an RG3 Kirk Cousins type of deal in New York? Or does that cause like quarterback controversy in a big media market like New York? You know what I mean?
It would definitely start some controversy, and personally, I wouldn't do it just because, I mean, there's so many holes on this team. If you had a more strong roster, like the Patriots did when they took a quarterback in the second round, then yeah, you take that best player available. If it's a quarterback, so be it. You could trade him later on. But for the Giants, when you got holes all over the place, offensive line, pass rusher, cornerback, safety, linebacker, you name it, take one of those. Fill a hole in the second round. The second round, that's still you're getting like some top tier prospects. I don't think you want to waste that on a quarterback that might never play a snap for your team.
That's true. Like who'd they get in the 4th round a few years ago that didn't pan out? Like it's
Kyle Lauletta.
Like, so it's like, why waste a 4th, 5th round pick on a guy like that? Like, that's not really going to pan out. You know what I mean? Why, a lot of quarterbacks, besides Tom Brady that lasts like to the last pick, you never see that happen with a quarterback anymore. I would just go like defense or offensive line, like, in those later rounds and try to sign like a veteran, like in the off season.
Yeah, like, see, I will say this about Jordan Love, though, is I feel like he's 2 or 3 years away from realizing his full potential. And we see these young quarterbacks go through these growing pains. Mahomes was like, look, Mahomes is an exception because, like, let's be real. I mean, he walked into a damn near perfect situation. Same thing with Carson Wentz. So some of these quarterbacks, right, they're like a couple of years farther away from where they should be than most people think. Because, like, Mahomes emerged, and now every person on the damn planet, like most NFL fans, are all of a sudden under the impression that their quarterback's going to be throwing for freaking 50 touchdowns in year 2 and then Super Bowl year 3 MVP as well, right? It's tough because your situation matters. But like another guy that I think the Giants seriously need to keep an eye on is if the opportunity presents itself to potentially add Brandon Ayuk from the wide receiver from Arizona State. I would do it because like I would gamble on his ceiling.
Yeah, I would probably gamble on him too, man. I mean, obviously, like I said before, I think they're going to go a wide receiver in one of these rounds. Maybe that speedster could be the guy. They definitely need somebody deep over the top, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, and like look, okay. So I broke this down a couple weeks ago, but I'll do it again. Look, you have Darius Slayton there. You need to get your speedster though, because if you get your speedster and he takes the top off of defense, what is that gonna do? It's gonna open like the speedster is gonna stretch the defense. Rigor, KJ Hamler, Ayuk, one of those three guys. If you get at 36 overall, they're gonna stretch the damn defense. And who is that gonna open up underneath? It's gonna open up two tight end set in Caden Smith and
Right.
Evan Ingram. You
Right.
gotta go with that, man.
Look what Tyreek Hill did, like for Kansas City. You got that deep threat. These guys are running wide open, like Robinson, Kelsey. Like, they get so wide open underneath because everybody's worried about Tyreek Hill going down the seam. Like, man, they have good success out. Yeah, we need a guy like that.
You gotta
I mean, I
add.
agree. I agree. A deep threat, you definitely want that because we don't really have a serious deep threat on this roster. But I think for Jason Garrett's offense, a better fit, you get a really big-bodied outside receiver. We've seen what he did with Des Bryant for all those years. Obviously, Michael Gallup tried to fill that role. They like their big outside receivers who can go up there and make big plays. So I think that's really what Jason Garrett's going to be looking for in his offense. So I think Darius Slayton has the burners enough to be that deep threat if they need him to be. So I think maybe they should look to get a big-bodied outside receiver instead.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
Very
you can just you're at a point now in the NFL where it's like so we went from like franchise quarterback to one good wide receiver in terms of like the Matt Ryan Julio Jones type duo or like Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams, that kind of stuff, to basically like you gotta have a great player at every position now. Otherwise, like you're not gonna win. And that's what this team needs to do this offseason is continue to build around Danny Jones.
true, man. Back to the build around him. Like now, like Anthony got me thinking about these big wide receivers. I mean, look at all these cornerbacks that are kind of small. You know what I mean? Maybe we do need a guy like that could just catch the ball over. I mean, Eli overthrew a lot of people too, man. So like when Eli had Plaxico, it looked like he was just throwing perfect passes because Plaxico caught everything, man. So yeah, I would like to see them grab some guy like that. I don't know if there's any free agents that are like that big wide receiver that's out there that could come over to us. Is there any?
Like, okay, so there's AJ Green, but like
Yeah,
if he was commanding freaking 15 million a year, you know what? I'm not paying him because that 15 million a year for the roster holes that this team has, that can be spent elsewhere. If
right.
it's someone like, Amar, I mean, look, one guy I think that is probably gonna end up hitting free agency is Amari Cooper. Because they still gotta get a deal done with Dak, right? The Cowboys, who we don't like, by the way, and we do not endorse them at all. But the point is it's like the Cowboys, they got to get a deal done with Dak Prescott, and they're not even freaking close on it. And then you got Amari Cooper. So you're going to have to let one of those guys walk. And if Cooper walks, I'm signing him in free agency because you're going to get a guy that's coming in, and already has familiarity with Garrett and the system. And let's be real, like Amari Cooper was great in 2015 and 16, kind of fell off in
Right.
2017, went to Dallas, and then just like as soon as he got traded to Dallas halfway through the 2019 season, I think it was, just like or 2018 season, just had a career resurgence.
Yeah, what a difference in offense it makes. With him there. Yeah, I mean that'd be a good free agent signing. Either him or Byron Jones, like on defense. I don't know if they go that route, but I mean, yeah, I mean either one of them guys would be a nice fit.
Yeah, I agree, and I would love Amari Cooper in free agency. He isn't that big-bodied jump ball receiver, but he's an excellent route runner. He creates separation on every single route that he runs, and we saw that he did great things in Jason Garrett's offense too. So if Garrett can convince him to come over to New York, I would be thrilled about that because that's the number one primary receiver that we definitely need and we don't really have on the roster. I think we have a lot of number two guys, but no number one. So if we can snag Amari Cooper, I think that would be perfect for Daniel Jones and his development.
Do you guys think like Tate goes if we do sign him?
Maybe. I think Tate has some value still, but we can get rid of him for an affordable price now because of the suspension. So you can definitely move on from Golden Tate and save some cap space there. So I think that they would consider it if they did spend a lot of money on Amari Cooper.
Yo, so I was scrolling through the Giants Brawl Twitter, right? You can find us on Twitter at Giants Brawl. I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is a freaking pretty sick picture of Dave Gettleman. Let me actually send it to you guys in the group convo, dude. That's a great picture by like Ralph Vacciano. But anyway, so yo, here's what happened. So we always have a trash talking segment as we get into like the final 20 minutes of the thing here. Before we get into that, man, guys, go check out fanatics.com, www.thebearsbrawl.com/fanatics. We got great deals there. Support us, support the network. We got a big launch coming March 1st. We're gonna have a big website with tons of like cool stuff on there. We're gonna have a forum where you can come interact with us. So like if you don't like what Mike says, approach him on the forum and you guys can go back and forth on it. Right, Mike?
Come at me, guys. Come at me. I'll be waiting.
All right, so here's what happened. I know Anthony saw some of the action. Mike's been involved on it too, right? So a couple weeks ago, I was at the airport waiting to go to Green Bay, or no, not Green Bay, but I was trashing Titletown Brawl. Now this past week, I got the opportunity to trash Jets Brawl, who we just launched, or trash talk them. I trashed Jets Brawl and Patriots Brawl. And let me just say, I went in on Jets Brawl, dude, and Patriots Brawl. They're launching in 2 weeks, but they were not happy with what I had to say. I'm serious.
The Jets, it's weird. Like I don't really hate them as much as I do like the NFC East, rivalries that we got, because I feel like the Jets, they haven't done anything to us. What have they done? Like their last, maybe like 5 years ago in the preseason, they won the Snoopy Bowl. Like you can keep that friggin' thing. Like, you were playing a bunch of UPS, FedEx drivers in the third and fourth quarter, so that didn't count. They haven't done anything to us. They're garbage. We let them use our stadium. You know what I mean? We let them in because they can't afford to have one on their own. So like, screw the Jets, man. They're whack. And the Patriots, like they beat everybody in the Super Bowl except us. Like, you know what I mean? Game over, man. It's a wrap. They have nothing on.
It's pretty funny. I got put into a group project today for a business class, and one of my members is actually a Jets fan. He was wearing a Jets hoodie, and I was like, "Oh, the little brother team," and he was like, "Yeah, kind of."
You know what I would have done? He was wearing like a green sweatshirt, right? Jets green. I would have pissed on it and turned it blue. You know what I mean? Because green and yellow make blue. In case people out there don't know.
I don't know if that's how that works, but maybe I'll give it a try.
Oh, trust me, it works, man. I've done that at Giant and Jets rivalry games.
So okay, I was going at it with those guys on Saturday, right? So for our listeners, this thing started with like me going ahead and basically welcoming them. And I was like, oh yeah, guys, welcome to the Brawl Network. Like, we're still the best football team in the Big Apple. And then, dude, they started quote tweeting me, and these guys were trashing Daniel Jones. So I replied with the freaking picture of the Mark Sanchez butt fumble, because that's like the one notable highlight. That's a bad highlight, by the way. That whenever the Jets come up, like, I think Mark Sanchez butt fumble.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite of all time. The two things that pop up on Google about Mark Sanchez is that and Rex Ryan's tattoo of him. Like it's weird. Can you imagine that?
Okay. And then get this. So I replied with the butt fumble gif, and then they replied with Danny Jones. And so then this whole thing went on for like 10 or 20 more tweets, and I was like, yeah, the best quarterback in the Big Apple. And they replied with Sam Darnold, and then I replied with, oh, he's probably seeing ghosts.
He's either seeing ghosts or seeing girls with dirty mouths.
Oh my god, dude.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't know what to think of Sam Darnold, because like this dude's in a crappy situation.
He's a man. He's like Deuce Bigelow. All over.
Oh my god, dude.
You don't want sloppy seconds from him. Let me tell you. You'll be in big trouble. You'll be getting vaccinated left and right. Hopefully believe in vaccinations, all right? You're going to need them.
No, okay, but like I'm being real, like speaking from a kind of neutral point of view here, is I feel so bad for Sam Darnold, specifically because like this dude, okay, so with Sam Darnold, right? This guy I had him as my QB1 in 2018 when he came out. I was like, oh, he could be Phillip Rivers, which, like, if you're a Jets fan, Phillip Rivers should be good enough for you. Like, back in the day, Phillip Rivers, not like half throwing arm, half-assing everything, Phillip Rivers, but like Phillip Rivers should be good enough for you. I kid you not, dude. He does not look like that. I get the situation plays a part, but still, man. Sam Darnold, I don't know if you're going to succeed in 2020 or not. You're going to a make or break season, man.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I would like to see him, like, if, all jokes aside about him, like, messing around with horse, I would have liked to see him have like a full year, like to see like what would he've done. Like, they were supposed to go in this year having a good team, and then with Gase and his offense, and then him being sick for like 5 weeks, it really just the whole team just fell apart, man. You almost kind of feel bad for him, like, in a way, but I mean, I don't, but I'm sure people.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do, because I do think he's a pretty talented player, and I liked him coming out of college. But I don't think he really has a real shot with Adam Gase as his quarterback. We saw how badly Adam Gase held back Ryan Tannehill in Miami. Tannehill was flourishing with the Titans. I think it's gonna be the same thing. Either Sam Darnold's eventually his contract's gonna run out, he's gonna go to a new team, and he's gonna be a whole different, much better player, or the Jets are going to wise up, get rid of Adam Gase, and start getting a staff around Darnold that actually makes him into a competent player. But you know what? I don't see it happening. It's the Jets. They're cursed with bad luck. They always will be. And I'm not going to complain about it. They're the little brothers. It is what it is. I've seen my team win 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime.
Right.
And my friend or my group mate for my class said, oh, yeah, we won one, but it was like 50 years ago. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sam Darnold needs to stay off Tinder. You know what I mean? Read a playbook. Stay home with the playbook. Get off that.
Anthony, you should for real just like have him listen to the podcast this week, dude. Just have him forward to like 40 minutes or whatever, and then he's probably gonna be super pissed off at us and come after me and Mike. Because if there's anyone that trash talks like these guys on the Twitter account, just in our Brawl group chats, like it's me and Mike. Like I was taking Eli gifts a couple weeks ago and just roasting Aaron Rodgers and Titletown Brawl. But today, so Patriots Brawl launched, and they're launching in 2 weeks, but they got their account up and active. And so I went after them too, and I was like, oh, we'd be happy to come on and discuss what happened in Arizona and Indianapolis. And their first reply was, how dare you?
I would love that, man. We should just we should have like a group watch party. We'll just watch the whole game, both of them, see what they got to say.
Oh, live stream it on like Periscope or whatever, and then get their reactions, dude. No, but I'll be real about that. So you guys, like, Eli retired a couple weeks ago, and like NFL World spoke out, and Brady was like, "Yeah, I wish he hadn't won those 2 Super Bowls." Like, those comments from Brady, right? Will forever be ingrained in everyone's memory, because you can tell that those 2 losses like eat away at Eli. Like, I get this dude lost to Nick Foles, but like he lost to Nick Foles once, and Nick Foles would never see another Super Bowl again. He lost to Eli not once but twice within a 4-year span. That's gonna haunt Tom forever, man.
By these crazy plays that would just go down in Super Bowl history. You know what I mean? He lost it like that, and even against the Eagles, like he was gonna beat the Eagles, but like what's his name stripped the ball. Otherwise, he was going to go right down and, like, win the game. Patriots going to win that game.
Oh, yeah. What was his name, dude? Like, Brandon. Yeah, I think it was Brandon Graham, right? But the point is that, like, those 2 losses are going to, like, haunt Tom forever. And these 2 guys, they're always going to be, like, like, they're always going to be affiliated with each other. Not because they're NFL quarterbacks, just because what went down. When you talk about Eli's 2 Super Bowl rings and you talk about, like, how many Super Bowls Brady got to, you're always going to talk about, those, or like Eli and the 2 that he won and the 2 that Brady lost. Overall, though, Patriots fans are damn annoying, dude. It just seems like every freaking year they get more obnoxious.
You're saying Tom Brady. Is that, are we talking about Eli's little brother? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
That was the comment Will put on, dude, where he was like, so Will, right, who was on our podcast like 2 or 3 months ago, was like, greatest franchise in the history of sports. There are kids who can't buy alcohol with experience. every moment of consequence in their history. The two the two biggest games of their best QB's career were won by Eli Manning. Hashtag little brother, hashtag check the default photo. And then Patriots Bar replies, and I guarantee you this was, yeah, I know who it was, but I'm not going to call him out. This was Pat's Bar replies with, take your 2 Super Bowls and run along. And then Will replies with, now I get it, quote unquote, in sports history since my team drafted Eli's little brother. Eli's little brother. Patriots Ball replies with, Eli's little brother, don't disrespect the GOAT like that.
That's great.
That was good, dude. I gotta contact, you should contact Will Anthony and give him a shout out for that afterwards and be like, hey, we discussed this on the podcast this week, so you definitely gotta tune in.
Gotcha. I'll send it to him now. We should get him on again sometime too, and he'll just trash talk the Patriots fans.
Oh my God, no, okay, but get this right. You guys live like Mike. I know you're in that New York area. So how many Patriots fans are even around you, dude? Just because it seems like after you get out of New York, dude, you got like, so that entire like North New England area, dude. I hate it, right? Because like I'm telling you right now, like, so I know 2 Patriots fans. One of them freaking grew up in Illinois his entire life. The dude is a Dad grew up a Bears fan. Brother's a damn Bears fan. Goes to freaking Bears training camp every year, but like roots for the damn Patriots. Like I don't know how that happened. And then other dude lives in freaking Utah and is somehow a Patriots fan. I don't get it, dude. Like where the hell do these guys come from?
They come out the woodwork because they're in the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl every goddamn year. That's what it happens. It's like that's why a lot of people are Dallas Cowboy fans now because of the '90s. When they were going, on that run, that's why they're front runners. That's all it is. Like
none of these
people. It's built,
None of these people are really born Patriots fans. They're just bandwagoners. They see, oh, this team won last year. I'll root for them. No real fandoms here. I was born a Giants fan. Everyone in my family is a Giants fan. If I wasn't a Giants fan, it would have been a problem. But of course I'm a Giants fan because they're awesome. I love the Giants. That's the best franchise in the sport. But all these people are like, oh, they won. I'll root for them. So they don't even know what it feels like to lose. I got this kid out in my common room. I'll probably go out there and make fun of him because he's wearing a Patriots jersey. And I'll just tell him, like, hey, remember 42 and 46? And then he'll probably run in his room and cry like he usually does.
I would close on.
Bro, oh my, yeah, I don't know. These guys piss me off, dude. And the worst part of it all, right, is it's like, okay, so you got Jets fans, so Jets fans freaking go hard, dude, at Eli, because I've had some interactions with them on Twitter. Not the Jets Brawl, who haven't become a problem yet, but I know they're not the fighting type, because you can just look at them and tell, like, these guys are not the fighting type, so they wouldn't get super serious with me, because I would just roast all of them. But, like, Jets fans, dude, some of them, I've seen them go hard at Eli, and it's like, yo, what did your guy accomplish, It's like when Chris Harris Jr. a couple of years ago, when the Broncos signed Mark Sanchez, it was like, yeah, people forget Sanchez went to 2 AFC championship games. It's like, no one's going to look at the fact that he went to 2 AFC championship games. They're going to look at the fact of did he win them and then win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course. That's the whole point of the playing the game is to get there. That's what you're remembered for. Like, you don't get into the Hall of Fame really with a gold jacket if you don't win Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Like, very rarely, right? I mean, am I wrong there? Like, do these guys get in like the Hall of Fame without having that ring on?
Nope, Super Bowls is what matters. And I know, yeah, Dan Marino, he's one of the best ever. He's a Hall of Famer, but Super Bowls are what matters. So if you ever ask me would I trade Eli's career for Aaron Rodgers, it would be a most definite no. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented players to ever play the sport, and he's won a lot of individual accolades and awards, but he doesn't have 2 Super Bowls. He only has 1. Eli has 2, so I'll take that any day. That's that's a blessing. That's what we watch the sport for, is to see our team go to the Super Bowl and win it. And Eli did that twice. I'll keep mentioning that.
Right. Aaron Rodgers, listen, he's like, the only thing he did right was like, I think Danica Patrick and that other girl, that's his greatest achievement. I mean, as far as winning 1 Super Bowl, like, screw that.
Hold on. Did you know that I found this out, like, and I hate celebrity gossip because it's just like super irrelevant to me, but I found out, dude, Danica's like a Bears fan apparently. Yeah, and then everyone was freaking going nuts about it. I'm like, yo, whatever, like, who gives a damn? As someone who roots for the Bears, like, you gotta freaking, if you're not kicking the out of Aaron Rodgers, like, you're doing your damn job wrong. If you're not trash talking Aaron Rodgers, right, who by the way is overrated, and I could get started, I could go in on Rodgers right now if I want to. He is freaking overrated like garbage. He's gonna go to the Hall of Fame, specifically because the Packers are without a doubt like a cornerstone franchise in the NFL, and they've been around for basically 101 years now. But like, his career in no way is as illustrious as some people make it out to be. Like, one Super Bowl ring, and then after that, just like a myriad, like plenty of damn playoff exits. And the worst part of it all was the 2014 collapse in Seattle in the NFC Championship game, and that 2016 loss in Atlanta. Like, those two were the worst. That if you were to sit here right now and tell me, like, yo, should Aaron Rodgers be in the Hall of Fame? I'd be like, yeah, but he should not be first ballot.
Right. That's what fantasy football does, man. Like the people that watch, are into the fantasy football, they look at all these big numbers that like Rodgers has, and it gets like a little like distorted mindset of what this guy's capable of. They just look at those kind of things. They don't look at the whole game as a whole. Like, what did he do for the game? What did he do to elevate his team? Come on, man. Come on.
Well, hey, listen. He's got one. Eli's got two. 2011, the 15-1 Packers choked in Lambeau because they got destroyed by Eli and his rocket arm. Eli's got two. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hold on, was that the game where Eli threw the freaking the last minute Hail Mary? Yeah, to Hakeem Nicks, right, to like close the half out, and you could just see I remember that because you could see the look on Aaron Rodgers' face like at that point during halftime. He's like, I have no idea what's going on, guys. Like, I don't know what to do here.
The Packers were 15-1 there, and we took them out.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. I love Eli, man. He's such a big underdog. You know how many bookies probably lost money when Eli played against these guys? Like, everybody in Green Bay's broke. Everybody in New England was broke after those two wins. Oh, come on.
Dude, so Green Bay's like the biggest goddamn wasteland on the history of the planet, because I know people that go up there every single year to watch the damn Bears, and it's the worst stadium because like it's bleacher metal seats, and your ass gets cold, right? When you gotta sit on like the bench in the middle of December or something. But it gets freaking cold, dude. And then like there's nothing up there, and they got pretty much, dude, I think their downtown is like the stadium and then like a Starbucks. Like, that's it. That's boring, dude.
Dude, they closed the whole like town down, and you have to walk like a mile to get there in like -2-degree weather. Like, if you don't take a cab there, you die. Like, that's how you want to live in Green Bay. Like, they should take that team and just move to LA too. Have like fucking 10 teams in LA.
Dude, I wouldn't be another fan of a team in LA, but I will say this, like, Green Bay, I mean, personally, I hate them, dude. I cannot stand their freaking fans just because, like, okay, so Green Bay fans are, like, equivalent to Eagles fans or Cowboys fans in the sense that if you say anything about their team, they're going to be, like, super butthurt about it, and, like, pretty much whatever the front office and the coaching staff and the GMs and all those guys do, like, is the right thing, which pisses me off because it's like, yo, do you really love, like, every move your team makes? I mean, I personally was not a fan of some of the moves Gettleman made. I like Saquon Barkley, but I was not a fan of him taking, Saquon at second overall, to be honest.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut there.
Nah, go ahead, dude. This is the Giants, bro. We do not take it easy on anyone here.
I would have drafted him number 1, you.
Anthony, what do you think, man? Who you got to trash talk, huh?
Well, I'm just saying we could have very long conversations about that number 2 pick with Saquon, and I don't think that we should. Man, that really does bring some controversy. I know if you say something about that on Twitter, everyone from every corner of Giants Twitter will be coming after you if you disagree with the pick or if you agree with the pick. Somehow, some way, the guy that you have blocked will make a new account, find you, and kill you. It's very scary.
Twitter's
dude, I don't know, dude. Like, you got, here's what's going to happen is, well, Danny Jones, and people are going to see the benefit of Saquon Barkley, and then you can come back to this episode and you can quote us, is they're going to run the offense through freaking Saquon, like, in 2020, specifically because, like, they're going to have to figure out ways to continue to develop Daniel Jones. And part of it's going to be all about like, hey, how can we take the pressure off Jones while we're building this relationship with him? Saquon's going to be healthy. They're going to run it through Saquon. It's going to be similar to like what the Rams did with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley. Like, that's what I think it's going to be.
If they run the ball like a lot with him this year, they're going to need Gallman to step up a little bit. Gallman didn't seem like he played like more than 5 snaps last year. That has to change. If they're going to run the ball a lot more this year, that has to change.
I think I saw reports that they're looking to move on from Gallman. They might be trying to get somebody else behind Saquon, and I don't blame them. He really disappointed last season. He didn't impress when he played, and he barely even played. And so if they draft someone in the late rounds of the drafts, solid running back, or if they just sign someone in free agency, I think that's probably what they're going to end up doing. I think that's a good idea because Gallman was very disappointing in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier in the damn show, I mean, they're at the Combine this week. It's going to be a fun offseason. But anyway, guys, let's get the hell out of here because I know it's 10 o'clock for you guys. And y'all got, like, places to do and things, you know, or places to be, things to do.
We got to watch Zion and the Lakers, man. Zion against LeBron tonight, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Zion, is it Zion or Zion, dude?
It's definitely Zion. Oh, I've never heard someone say Zion before, but that's pretty great, Mike.
Oh, I saw dude, the night of the NBA draft lottery, so because it was just here in Chicago and I was like 2 miles away from it, people were like, I saw some dude in a Zion jersey. They got depressed when the Bulls got the 7th overall pick, which the Bulls suck anyway, so they're gonna freaking ruin. Like, had the Bulls gotten Zion, they would have freaking ruined him anyway. But you go enjoy your basketball game, guys. Before we get out of here, follow Anthony on Twitter at Anthony_Rivardo. Check out his work on Empire Sports Media. Follow Mike on Twitter at MikeTrainerMFT. As always, it's TRAINOR, not ER like your personal trainer, OR like Megan, okay?
Right. My cousin.
Okay, and then follow me on Twitter, guys, at Usaid Kosho. Be sure you're following us on Instagram or not Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, right? Yeah, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, guys, at Giants Brawl. Tweet at us there. If you didn't like what I said about Saquon, that's okay. Come after me as well. I'm definitely going to be tweeting that opinion out as soon as I get around to like cutting this thing up. And guys, we will be back next week with some scouting combine review, and then we're going to dip into free agency and hopefully get a guest on for you guys. So you guys want to add anything before we get out of here?
Please do not kill me for what I said about maybe traded Daniel Jones. Like I said, I'll reiterate. I believe in him. He's our franchise quarterback. Do not murder me because I have said this before and I've gotten killed for it. Please don't kill me. That's all.
I was going to tell you to edit that out after we left here.
No, we'll keep it in now because we're the Brawl guys, so we're all about like respecting people's different opinions, you know. And like, let's be real. I mean, Anthony got to be like the biggest Daniel Jones fan on the planet, right?
I mean, I'm up there. I love the guy. I really do. I drove all the way to Miami just to watch him throw hacky sacks into cornholes. So I think I'm a pretty big fan of the dude.
Right. You just had a little bit of a brain fart earlier. Don't pay no attention.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in this week. See you guys.
Peace.